There's some little tips of highlights just in the top part of this petal up here, that just in the very top bits there, that I'll probably keep white, and even this I'd keep white, because it is the lightest, and we can come in with a dash of colour later, but nothing too crazy, and it will be really nice between the dark and the light. It's you can emphasise it a little bit more, perhaps.
Because it's strange, isn't it? Because obviously it's on a black background at the moment.
Yeah, well, yes, it is. It makes it easy to see, but
yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it looks.
Yeah, white on a white background. So a lot of it I would come in and just soften some of those edges. They don't need to be that hard. Oh, that dark. So do you have your son staying with you? Is that the deal?
The eldest one is in Scotland again at the moment.
Oh, okay.
He's gone back.
Okay.
He's in his final year. I don't know. They're trying to encourage them to take a test then and all come back the first week in December, but he lives on his own in a flat, so it's not quite the same as, obviously if they're on campus, it's a bit more of a issue, and he finds it harder to concentrate when he's at home. He's better off there until he's finished his last exam sort of thing, and then come back. But the younger one didn't want to go to uni. He finished school not last summer, the summer before. Thank goodness.
Yeah, right.
I would have hated it if he was still at school with all this, but so he just goes to work every day, which he probably only had to work from home the first 3 or 4 weeks, but it drove him potty. So I'm glad he's I don't think they should really be going up into the office, but they are, and it sort of suits him. So,
Alright.
When you're at home all day in just the one environment,
when
you're sort of 19,
I know you just need a different view.
Yeah.
So what does he do then?
Well, it's his first job. He's fell on his feet really, because I said to him, it's not normally an environment like that. It's a foreign exchange trading company.
Yeah.
That sort of directed at small businesses to, because they're only quite small.
Right.
They can obviously, they haven't got that many overheads, so they can do a much better exchange rate than any of the banks and most of the other brokers as well. So, with people trying to cut costs at this time, he's actually, the firm's doing quite well.
Well, that's great.
People who probably didn't look at, trying to save money in that area before.
Yeah, look at every avenue now.
Looking at everything now, yeah. So, yeah, he's picked up.
Well, that's good. So he's got, his job is more secure.
Yeah, so his job's not at risk at all, so that's good. So he's been there just a year now.
Yeah. So did he? So yeah, you don't. I suppose you don't really need to go to uni for that sort of job. What would you do
You
if you
don't
were?
have to what? Sorry, no. I mean, you could do it from home, but they prefer to have him in because it is hard. Because he has a base, but then really, it's almost like cold calling,
Right.
which is exhausting. And then to keep the morale up, I think it does help.
Yeah.
Because in this day and age, convincing somebody that actually you can help them save a lot of money, because there's so many scams around, it's really difficult to get, at first past that and convince them that, no, we are a legitimate firm and we can really save you a lot of money at this time. So, but once he's got past that, he does make, obviously he really helps the clients. So it's just building their confidence in this day and age, which is hard, isn't it?
Yeah. And what's your other son studying?
Yeah, it's funny because they both did economics A level, but the younger one, just the whole thing of learning at school, and also because we have to pay for all the university yourselves here, it's huge debt, and that's why he didn't want to carry it on.
Yeah.
Whereas the eldest is doing economics as a degree. So I don't know. Coming out this year, at the end of this year, is going to be tricky for him, and he's very undecided what he's going to do. So he's going to try and apply for work up there, work down here. Even doing a master's down here or a master's up there, and just see what, if anything, comes of anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's hard to know. A lot of the sort of graduate training programs that there were last year all got cancelled. So there'll be all last year's people and
Yeah, right, looking as well.
this year's people looking. So, that's why he's just trying to pick up anything. I mean, the masters would mean he'd be even more debt, but to be honest, it's sort of past the point of no return now anyway, and they only take money back off you as you improve in your, what you're earning. So,
okay.
It's sort of like a tax, if you like.
Yeah, right. So as your income goes up, the paybacks
pay
get a bit
back,
more.
Yeah. So, you like to hope eventually you'll be able to pay it back, but whether he does or not, we'll have to see.
What's the interest rate that they give them?
Oh, it's just obscene. Because interestingly, it's been a bit of a year, and my mum's had dementia for about 7 years now, and my sister was a primary carer.
Yeah.
And we had carers going in as well, but my sister, because they both live up north. But the stress of that was terrible, and my sister ended up getting breast cancer, thankfully last year, not this year. So anyway, to put a long story short, Mum eventually went into a home about 2 months ago, and again, it's we're talking huge amounts of money. So we could either sell the house, or we were sort of looking maybe renting it out to help pay towards the cost, and then at least it just completely disappear. And then just what they explained to us, then the shortfall would then just get taken when the house was eventually sold. And they were only going to charge for this shortfall 1%, right? So for people in those circumstances, it's 1%.
Right.
Whereas
Wow.
So, I mean, which is why it's just, I mean, gosh, no one can get returns like that. I mean, it's you know, going to absolutely cripple them, really. It just seems that the young people are being very heavily paying the price all round here at the moment. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
It seems unfair that, you know, we'd be getting charged 1% for that, whereas they're getting, which is still sort of from the government, you know, much higher charges incurred, when really they're starting out in life and need sort of the leg up.
Yeah, it's interesting that the government decide that sort of education loan, I mean, it's not a loan for a
Yeah,
house or a car, should be a money-making thing, you know,
yeah,
rather
yeah,
than
yeah,
rather than almost like a service, like if we just, you know, break even, you know, we're happy, because
yeah.
ultimately,
I mean, it's a very, very different situation in France, because obviously Pam's son's been at Nice uni all these years, and they pay him.
really,
It's just so different. Yeah,
wow.
I mean,
Well, no,
it's
because
very different.
we've got a nice educated, you know, because everybody can have the option to go to university then, and everybody can get educated and get better jobs, and I mean, you would think the
Yeah,
government would want a really, you know, highly educated population would be great, or you know, if people wanted to do that and things that maybe, yeah, if you want to pay your own way, that's fine, but not actually make money off the loan, but more like just keep it at a.
yeah.
Although, what's inflation?
Inflation's very low, very low. I think it's different. It's difficult because it went from one extreme to the other. You see, I think um, you know, the attitude was that basically when I'd gone to uni, it wasn't that. It was probably only about 20% of the population that
Yeah,
went
yeah,
on to go
not so
to
many
uni.
people. Yeah, yeah.
Generally did, whereas then it that all changed and it became a very high percentage of the population, and they were doing a lot of courses that then weren't actually leading to any direct career path, and
Mhm.
often they didn't attend and all that, and I think it had got a bit sort of to the other way, if you like.
Yeah.
So, but then, well, it's
But see,
just the way it's worked.
they
The
can pay
time
back
will.
the loan. It just they don't have to be. It could be. I guess it has to just be need to be maybe just what inflation is. That's about it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, which would be.
Because ultimately, if
Yeah,
even if somebody goes to school and they have to pay back something, I mean, skin in the game. You know, it makes you concentrate. If you know you've got debt, you know, for your schooling, it can give you
oh,
some
absolutely. Yeah,
incentive.
yeah. Because um, you know, getting both of them to study at school was a nightmare, and that's why then now I don't get on at him anymore. I say, look, it's your day, it's your decision,
You're
and
right.
I don't have to get on, and he's done much better than he ever did at school. So it has certainly focused his
You're
mind.
right.
So I mean, so I do get that, um, but I just think, you know, certainly the percentage is harsh,
I thought that.
and also the amount that they can charge for a degree is sort of set, whereas for a master's, it's not set at all. And like, depending on which school you go to, then I mean, one of the schools that he was interested in going to, it's £30,000 just for
Mm.
1 year. And bear in mind, you can imagine now that you know, that's all going to be online
Yeah.
because of the situation. Which, you know, you think, really, £30,000? Huge. So I'm not clear that it would be, you know, in better times maybe there might have been people to sponsor you as well, but I mean there's no money around for any of that, so well, we'll see.
Yeah,
But
you'd have to be hooked up in with some sort of company who wants you to
Yeah,
until
which
you're
again,
learning.
you know, because of the situation, they just don't have
No.
the monies, the opportunities aren't really floating about.
No.
We'll see what happens. Hopefully something will come up. Because it must be, you know, the ones who finished last year, particularly as well, it must be very disheartening. You know, you do all that study and you think you've done the right, and then there was obviously nothing happening, and they end up being Amazon delivery drivers.
All right.
It's so destroying.
Yeah. Okay. How are you going with your
I was
painting?
surprised they both ended up going down that route, but
Yeah.
my husband and I both sort of come from a banking background, so I guess.
Yeah, what you see, what you learn, what you're exposed to. And how is your painting going? Yeah, okay?
I don't know whether I can, because you can't see anything, can you? I tell you what, I'll hold up how far I've got. I haven't got very far. I'm just seeing. I don't know how much you can see of me, or.
Oh yeah, you did. You got
See
around.
anything?
Yeah, you got around there quite a lot.
I'm bobbing about. You know when you think, oh, I'm not sure of that bit, so then I start somewhere else.
And that's exactly what you do. You just sort of, you can see where that
Yeah,
shadow
I'll
is,
match
so
that
you
when I've
put
got
it in.
it.
And yeah, exactly. So that's kind of, I mean, that is kind of how I start. I just sort of block in all these things and sort of reacquaint myself with the picture really when you're sort of going around it like this, you know, looking at all the details again. There's still a few more things I can do in there, but I mean, I think if you sort of take your time, when
If I keep going with that,
yeah,
saying, so if I sort of basically outline the whole
yeah,
lot for the next
yes,
session, you see, again, I wouldn't have necessarily known that was the best way to start, so it is really helpful.
I'm not sure if it's the best way to start. It's the way I do it though, just because I kind of need to see where everything is. Now I won't do it on a huge painting, but on a smaller painting I sort of just slowly go through it like a clock or something, you know, and put in that first layer. And we put in green, but it could be yellow, or if you want to do a base colour of yellow, or it could be, you know, whatever, just to sort of, so you get a little idea of where things are. Because now, of course, it takes the guesswork out of it. You now know that's where that little wrinkle is, and so you just start developing that rather than, yeah. So for me, that's how I start anyway. And I'll just go through it and redefine some of it using probably the same colour and finish off through here and things.